Hi, my name's Natalie. I am going to be talking about contracts today. I did teach one of my employees, but they did not want to be on camera. So I'll go ahead and review what we talked about. A contract is an agreement that you can take to the legal system. So it's an agreement between two parties. It means that you do what you said you would do. It's a set of agreements that are legally binding, and each party must benefit from the contract. It must be mutually beneficial. So there's two kinds of contracts that we'll talk about. A bilateral is when you promise to buy something and the seller promises to give it to you. And then a unilateral is when someone makes a promise and then you only accept it once an action is done. And an example of this is like mowing a lawn. You will, once you mow the lawn, that's your agreement into it, and they agree to pay you after that action is done. Express and implied contracts. Those are express contracts have all the terms written down. Like when you buy something online, you have to agree to the terms and conditions when you buy something. And then an implied contract is informal, and it's formed when you do something for someone and they should expect to be paid. So it's like hiring a lawyer to do a will. So they expect to be paid from doing that work for you. A quasi contract, the word quasi means as if. And so a quasi contract, it's not an actual contract like written down, but it helps avoid unfairness when one person gets benefits without an agreement. So it's like getting the wrong package delivered to your house. It's understood that that wasn't intended for you, and you're not able to legally hold on to that stuff just because it was delivered to you. It's a quasi contract because it's an understood thing that if you receive someone else's mail, it doesn't mean it belongs to you. You have to return it back to them. So when we are interpreting contracts, some contracts are hard to understand because they use tricky language. And so courts usually try to understand the words plain meaning, the words of the plain meaning of the words. But if they're still confusing, then the court might be in favor of the person who didn't write the contract if it's too tricky to understand. So we'll move on to elements of a contract. There are three basic elements, and it's offer, acceptance, and consideration. And an offer is a serious promise with clear terms. Acceptance means you agree to return the offer, and then consideration is what you get in return for that promise. So you can terminate the offer. The offer doesn't have to last forever. It can be revoked, rejected, or terminated because of time, destruction, death, or illegality. And then acceptance means that you agree to the offer either through words or through actions. So you shake on it or you agree to it. It must be definite and communicated. So both parties have to understand. And then consideration is what each party gets in return for making the promise. So it can be something like refraining from something as well. So you can also promise to not do something. We have to consider fairness in contracts. Sometimes when agreements are misunderstood or one party is trying to take advantage of someone else, a court can determine the fairness and the rights of each party member. So sometimes they can be brought to a court and then the court can determine the fairness. But like I said before, it might end up being in favor if it's too tricky. The wording is too tricky and it's not in plain language. So some personal examples from me. I work with contracts a lot in my job. So I own a grocery store and so it's a small business. And I was thinking of all the kinds of contracts that I come into contact with all the time. Just starting a business in and of itself, there's tons of contracts established, and some of them are written and some of them are just agreed upon. just some of the ones I can think of. I have employer-employee contracts, such as like a handbook policy and code of conduct. We have all of our employees sign a contract that says that they'll abide by the rules, the dress code and things like that. We also have contracts of behavior. So when we do like documentation on behavior or problems in the store, we have selling food, we have FDA, health inspector, weights and measures. We by running a business and selling food products, we agree to abide by all of the legalities and the laws and the rules according to all of those jurisdictions. So weights and measures, we agree to have accurate scales. We agree to have clean surfaces and have all of our things in order, and the meats can't touch certain things. Organic products can't touch regular products. There's a lot of contracts, written and unwritten in this. And then as a business owner, I also have lots of contracts just with the way I operate my business with accountants, lawyers, insurance agents, payroll companies, utilities. There's dozens of them. And then building maintenance, we have a pest control company that we contract with. We have a music service that we have a contract with. We signed for a year of service if we pay them for a year. The biggest one I can think of is the operator agreement that I signed. So the store that I own, we have all of our product on consignment, which means we don't own the inventory, we manage the inventory. And so in the operator agreement, I agree to sell the products at certain prices and manage the inventory within a certain percentage amount of our sales. And so I have to be responsible for tracking all the product that comes in and out of the building, making sure the pricing is correct. And if I fail to comply with that agreement, then I'm in breach of contract and they could take my store away or sue me. So those are some contracts that I have in my life, lots of experience with those. And I hope we will learn more about this. It's very applicable to my daily life.